Now, we're often aiming for 12% moisture content and 0.6 water activity. Now, if the flower is larvae, a little bit more airy, then you can get a little bit higher, 0.62. If the flower is dense, very dense, and it might be exposed to a lot of heat, then quite often you want it down around 0.55, 0.56, 0.57 in that range. But for me personally, I'm always aiming for 0.58 to 0.60 water activity, 12% moisture content. Now let's compare, you had two different buds. One was 10% moisture content with 0.62 water activity, and one was 10% moisture content with 0.75 water activity. The one with 0.62 is going to be safe. It'll be well cured. It'll have good feeling to it. It'll probably have enough moisture locked into it. Now, if you have the flower with 0.75, that flower has high risk of mold. Anything over 0.62 has a risk of creating a bit of a funk or mold. Now, mold is usually higher in the 0.65 range, but I find quite often if our flower sits at 0.62 or higher, 0.62 to 0.65, you risk getting a bit of a funky smell. So why measure both? Well, moisture content will tell you more about the weight and the texture of the flower, whereas water activity will tell you more about the shelf life, the freshness, and the risk of funk or mold. So moisture content tells you how wet the bud is, and water activity tells you how much water is bound in that flower. And for me personally, for curing, I don't even look at moisture content very much. Water activity to me is the most important metric, and I'm always trying to hit that 0.58 to 0.62, depending on the density of the flower. And that bound water, when you bind that water into the flower, you'll get a much better smoke, much better flavor, a much better cure, a longer cure. You'll be able to put that flower into an environment that's dry, and the flower will retain that moisture better. It doesn't give off the moisture like flower that wasn't cured and doesn't have that bound water. And so in our quest to bind the water into the flower and produce the best cure possible, that's why we've introduced the CurePuck Gen 2. The CurePuck tracks water activity, so there's no guesswork, you're in full control. It's how you lock in the flavor, the smoothness, the extended shelf life. It's what separates average growers from those who know their craft.